Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? This may seem awfully premature, but Jordan Reed from ESPN, one of their draft analysts, NFL draft analysts, has put out a 2024 mock draft. I have no idea why Jordan Reed would choose now to put out a 2024 mock draft. NFL camp hasn't reported. College football talking season isn't even underway. Yet here we are with a 2024 mock draft. This should come as no surprise. Caleb Williams, the number one overall pick, he projects. What is a surprise is that it's to Arizona, where, of course, they've got Kyler Murray there, who was the number one overall pick just several years ago. Now, remember, Arizona also has Houston's number one pick as a result of their trade this past draft, and so he's projecting Arizona to pick 1 and 2, and to go Caleb Williams, and then to get Caleb Williams, a receiver, in Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State. Now, he's also projecting Tampa to pick 3rd. And he's got Tampa taking Drake May out of North Carolina. The reason why I laugh heartily at that, if you missed it, Carlton Davis, cornerback for the Bucs, did an interview with a golongtd.com where he was asked about the Bucs being without Tom Brady, now no longer being contenders. He said, quote, "We're about to do it to him. Anybody who feels we've lost Tom and lost something, it's going to be in for a rude awakening. A rude awakening. Tom was a great addition for us, but obviously it's a team sport. Obviously you need components to be successful. We still have those components, and I'm only getting better." He went on, quote, "We're going to wreck expletive, like wreck expletive. Interceptions, turnovers, plays will be made. I will say, plays will be made." Do I need to remind Carlton Davis that Tampa Bay was 8-9 with Tom Brady a year ago? Bro, y'all gonna suck. Your organization is fire sailing the whole thing. You're gonna suck. They're projecting you to pick 3rd. You're gonna suck. You literally have the worst odds to win the division. Plus 800 to win the crappy NFC South. Tampa, you're gonna Carlton Davis, you're gonna suck. Anyway. Specifically with the Saints, listen, when I'm looking at a mock draft in July, on July the 6th, I am not so much worried about the player. I am worried about two things primarily, or interested in two things primarily. Number one, where are you projecting the Saints to pick? And number two, what position are you projecting the Saints to pick? A lot will change as far as the personnel. Remember, before the season in 2021, Spencer Rattler was the projected number one overall pick. He lost his job that year at Oklahoma to Caleb Williams and transferred to South Carolina. He's back for a 5th college season. So I'm not so much interested in the player as I am where are you projected to pick and what position. And Jordan Reed's projecting the Saints to pick 20th. So essentially saying the Saints are going to be a playoff team this year by virtue of winning the NFC South, which I agree with. I think the Saints are going to win a bad division this year. And that makes a lot of sense, why you would have the Saints picking 20th. He's also got the Saints picking Christian Mahogany, a rich Mahogany. God, I hope that happens just so I can quote Anchorman all the time. Oh. Rich Mahogany. Yes.
This is going to be a drop. We're just going to make that
I
a
would
drop.
love it.
Yeah.
I would love it if it happens that way. It has to happen, though. But Christian Mahogany is an offensive guard from Boston College. And as Jordan Reed notes, interior offensive line is going to be a major question mark for the Saints. Andres Pete, Cesar Ruiz, Calvin Throckmorton will all be free agents following the 2023 season. So your top 3 interior offensive linemen all could be gone following this season. And Mahogany is a guy that was getting first-round buzz last year before he tore his ACL. So now he's healthy, he's back. Scouts are going to be looking to see if he can prove it. And Boston College has produced very good offensive linemen in the draft. Chris Lindstrom in 2019, Zion Johnson in 2022 were first rounders. Mahogany could be the next. 6'3", 335. And by the way, Jordan Reed mentions interior offensive line, wide receiver, and defensive line as what would be the biggest needs for the Saints. So, again, I'm less concerned so much with the player and more interested in where they're drafting and the position they draft. Now, first of all, drafting an offensive lineman would totally be on par for the New Orleans Saints. The Saints, historically, let me not even say historically. The Saints under Mickey Loomis, they draft linemen. This year, your first pick was Brian Brzee. Last year, you had 2 first-round picks. One of them was Trevor Penning. 2021, your first pick was Peyton Turner, defensive lineman. In 2020, your first pick was Cesar Ruiz, offensive lineman. In 2019, your first pick was in round 2, but it was Eric McCoy, center. In 2018, your first pick was Marcus Davenport, defensive lineman. In 2017, you had 2 ones. One of them used on Ryan Ramczyk, offensive lineman. The year before that, 2016, Sheldon Rankins, defensive lineman. 2015, it was Andrus Peat, offensive lineman. You get the drill. You get the point. The Saints draft linemen. It's what they do. And I'm not opposed to that in any way. Part of the reason the Saints built that great offense they did under Drew Brees was they built inside out with the best guard tandem in the NFL at the time when they had Carl Nicks and Jari Evans. And they've continued to follow that path. And, of course, you want great interior defensive linemen as well. They can blow up the launch pad. So, yes, absolutely. You're looking at a year where Andrus Peat, Cesar Ruiz, Calvin Throckmorton are all going to be free agents. You're likely going to need an interior offensive lineman. Now, I'm very curious to see what is going to happen with Trevor Penning. Is Trevor Penning going to be able to play left tackle for you? Is he going to be a tackle, or does he slide inside and play guard at the NFL level? If he plays guard and you re-sign one or keep Andrus Peat or re-sign Cesar Ruiz at a lesser dollar amount, okay, well then maybe you don't draft an interior lineman. But maybe Trevor Penning becomes your starting left tackle and you lose both Ruiz and Peat, and you draft a guard and you go into free agency and sign one of the top guards in free agency. Those are possibilities as well. The Saints haven't really historically spent money on free agent offensive linemen. Of course, they made the trade for Max Unger, but they've mostly drafted, developed, and kept their own linemen that they've drafted and developed. So just something to file away if they do go that direction. The other 2 positions that I would say, and I disagree completely on wide receiver and defensive line. Now, wide receiver could become a need based on how this year, what transpires this year. You got a lot of receivers, but if none of them pan out, you could very much be in the market for a receiver next year, but I think somebody will. Quarterback is the other sort of like star asterisk, file it away. Because if the Saints are picking 20th, they likely win the division and they're picking 20th and you're good with Derek Carr and you proceed. But there's always the possibility that this season does not go well. And the scenario that I've suggested could happen unfolds, which is that Derek Carr is basically Andy Dalton. He's 9 years into his career with the team that drafted him. He was always a really good quarterback, but never an elite top-tier quarterback. The team that drafted him recognized a declining skill set and moved on. And we saw what happened with Dalton. He went to Chicago and Dallas and the Saints and now Carolina. 4 years, 4 teams, and he's no longer a viable starting option in the NFL. I think Derek Carr is Andy Dalton. Maybe I'm dead wrong. And he performs at an even better level with a change of scenery. Or maybe he's Andy Dalton. And if he is, and you faceplant this year, then you're looking for a quarterback in the draft. And that could be a spot to do it. I don't know if it's at 20, but likely higher in the draft than where you would be picking. And maybe you do what Carolina did this year, which is get aggressive to move up and get a guy who you think could be your franchise in this coming draft. So file it away. Again, that's Jordan Reed from ESPN with his 2024 mock draft. If you're wondering about the rest of the division, Tampa picking 3rd. He's got Atlanta picking 13th. And then, obviously Carolina then not having a pick after having moved up and trading with the Bears would have Carolina picking 10th. The Bears picking 10th with Carolina's pick. So, it'll be bad. There's really no excuse for the Saints not doing this. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.